Yeah.
Right then, boys. Next one. Let's go for Lucas Moura. Anyone want to start?
I'll open.
Come on, Jez.
I'll open with Lucas Moura. Very difficult, but I'm going to go with the majority of the season and not the 4 games that he played well in at the end. So I would actually give Lucas a 5. I think he's played well right at the end of the season. So maybe in like boxing terms, he might have won the round because that's what the last few punches of the round often wins it for you. But not with me, Lucas. So I've given him 5 because even post-lockdown when he was first playing, and to be fair to him, Mourinho was playing him in that sort of inside forward where Aurier was the winger and he had to be this sort of right midfielder that just didn't work. And you can never question his work ethic. I like him as a character. He comes across as a really nice guy. Give us probably the most exciting moment of our Spurs lives when he scored the hat-trick against Ajax and genuinely goosebumps and tears after that game.
Yeah.
But the stats don't particularly lie. He grabbed a few assists at the end of the season, but he doesn't score nearly enough goals for a winger if he's meant to be a winger, and he doesn't get nearly enough assists. That being said, he seems to have found a bit of a home as a side midfielder when you're playing 4-4-2, and he looks useful there. And if he did play the way that he's played for the last 3 or 4 games, where he's winning more tackles than centre-backs are, then you have to give him a bit of praise. But I've gone with a 5 because I think in terms of what a winger should do and what you need when you're looking at players like Salah and Mane, and it's kind of with just pure jealousy. And yes, he isn't asked to operate in the same way, but when you've got as much pace, as much talent, as much dribbling ability as Lucas, and you don't give anything in terms of end product, barely ever, I just get frustrated. I don't think he's the guy. Again, I think he'd be a good player off the bench, but shouldn't be a starter. And I think we've got the man to start instead of him, which is perfect.
Yeah. Ols?
I did give him a 6. Don't know why, but I like him. I do like it. He's great. Like I say, you've got that night in Amsterdam that probably clouds everything surrounding Lucas Moura, really. But you can't fault him. He knows what he's good at. But then we've said before on the pod about him being the fastest player. Doesn't run fast or in behind, and he can dribble around anybody, but never does. Like, it's ridiculous. So
he doesn't know what he's good at.
Well, yeah, exactly. So he can defend really, really well, which is weird. Maybe he could be only right back. Who knows? It could be the answer for him. But no, like I said, I think a 6 he's not as bad as other players have been who I've given 5s to. So for me, it's going to have to be a 6 for him. But, Mourinho clearly likes him, and you can see why, because he'll track back, he'll do the dirty work, and maybe, yes or no, you'll get a moment of a worldie out of him every now and again. There's a couple of assists, but not really any goals from the wing. If you're going to play a 4-3-3, I think you need goals from the wing, personally. You look at how Liverpool play their 4-3-3. I know it's a bit of a hybrid sort of system where Firmino sort of becomes an attacking midfielder and the other two bomb off of him. But, Son gets a lot of goals from the other side. Maybe Son is cutting in on a stronger foot, maybe, but even playing Lucas on the left, I wouldn't be confident he's going to get 10, 15 goals. Son, I think he's almost guaranteed 10 goals for a season now, at the level he's at. But yeah, I think Lucas, again, is a good squad player. We've said that a lot about our squad. I think that's probably the concern, really. We've got a lot of good squad players, but we're lacking those real players who are going to take the leap. And as you said, Jez, Bergwijn is probably the one who should play over him. I think he is the type of person who could get you 10 goals a season and, 5, 6, 10 assists, whatever. So I think, he's not as good as Stevie. He's got a potentially better reputation than Stevie has, purely because he's 27, I think, 28. He's quite old, isn't he? Well, for a winger.
Yeah. I'm not that old, you cheeky bastard.
Yeah, well, but yeah, no, I think 6 for me. I think he's a great squad player, great sub. If we buy some players, we'll have a great bench next year, boys. That's for sure, isn't it? We've got about 8 bench players who have got. And Mourinho has said he wants a strong bench next year, and that's up to Levy to buy players that are going to push the current sort of so-so players to that bench. Yeah. Pete?
Yeah, I've gone 6 as well. I saw an interesting stat today that he played the most games for us this year.
He did. 47?
Something like that. He didn't,
Well,
but Toby played the most minutes, but he played the most games across the year. I pretty much echo what you both said. He can be very frustrating to watch. The fact that he doesn't run in behind drives me up the wall so often. And he needs to be bringing more to the table. He needs to be getting more goals, creating more for us. I like him. I really do like him. Like you said, he gave us probably the greatest night of our lives as Spurs fans in Amsterdam. But 6 for me. Not much else to say on him, I don't think. Right, 2 to go.
One more thing.
We'll go with. Go on, Sir Jez.
I thought the bit of the season that stays in my mind, it's not Lucas' fault, it was part of the worst managerial decision, and then to show off how bad a certain player is at one point was when he got put into right back, Ollie. When you said he could play right back, no, never again. I think he went to right back. We're struggling here, we're not sure what to do. Right, let's take off Orient. Moore's going to slip into right back. And then what we'll do is we'll keep the same game plan where he is going to cross the ball. I think he put in maybe 10 crosses, if you could call them crosses. And it was so horrifying to see that our winger
it's the back post.
Crosser on the pitch. It was just a moment of madness when we're just a horrible tactical decision and just find faith in a player who just doesn't have what the manager thought he had. But sorry, Peter, I just wanted to remind everyone of that.
No, it's fine. You can get that.
Sorry, Jez. Ross scores too high for you, Jez. You have to just knock us down a little peg.
Very upset with Ross.
Right, 2 to go. Let's go Lamela and then Kane. Lamela, I think he's another one. We've got quite a few. As you were saying about, we've got a few good players for the squad holes, but we've got a lot of players that split opinion. I think I, for one, really like Lamela. And don't get me wrong, I don't think for 1 second he's got reached anywhere near his potential that we wanted him to when he first came in. He's like Jez was saying about South Americans being feisty, and I love that side of him. And he is good on the ball. He's just been hampered by injuries massively. I think he's had an all right season. He came in for Mourinho and it looked like he liked him as a 10, and I thought that could really work for you, actually. And then when he played there, he couldn't find a pass for love nor money. He just looked real poor. Like his final ball in that final third was terrible. He didn't really create much for us at all. And I just love him. So I think I've gone a little bit high. I gave him a 6, same as Mora, but I might be clouded judgment because I like him so much. He's another one I'm so desperate to come good because he has had moments of real quality. And if he could just do it consistently for us, another one he probably shouldn't start, unfortunately. Another great one from the bench, but there you go.
We've got a great bench.
Yeah.
I had to give him 5. I can't really give him much higher than that. For this season, I'd maybe less. I can't think of any moments of at the start. We've had 2 starts the season this time, and both first 2-3 games, he looks, here we go. This is the player we got. And then he gets injured or it just stops. I don't know whether it's the fact that he plays at a different pace. Well, he plays at the same pace, which is really high. And at the start of the season, no one else is at that pace.
Yeah.
As the season goes on, everyone else catches up with him, and then he's not as good. So I don't know. Maybe that's why he gets injured all the time. But again, much like I remember watching when we signed him 7 years ago, which is mental. Yeah. And for 7 years, we've been saying he's the player. But when we signed him from AS Roma, I think I said to you, Jez, or we were talking about him probably on MSN or something. That's how long ago we signed him. And and we were saying how good this boy is going to be. Like, if we got him, that's the most ridiculous signing ever. And he's going to replace Bale, no problem. And obviously that didn't happen. That's not to say that we are a bad judge of player. I disagree on that. But I think that, he's just the man of the potential and has shown it in very few glimpses. I think of that Rabona goal that probably should have won the Puskas Award. It wasn't even nominated. Absolute crime to football, that. But, yeah, this season, he's just the same. As much as you wait for him to become this great player, I don't think he ever will. And he's one that I wouldn't, if we're trying to sell players to raise money, I think he's one that's at risk for me. After 7 years and he's still trying to acclimatise the Premier League, you could argue, then you're not going to really. But, I love him. I think he's great. He's got the strangest nickname ever. Why is he called Coco? I've no idea. For those who aren't watching the YouTube, Jerry's just touched his nose very gently there. I'm not sure that's a Lucy, maybe, I don't know, but it's it has to be 5 for me. He's been no better than that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I gave him a 5 as well. Touching the Theo Walcott's about him, Ollie, from what you're saying, like we've been waiting for him to be a world beater for his whole career when he's been with us. And when he did arrive, like I said, I think we actually might have signed him on a FIFA game, you and I. And we were absolutely pleased. We were pleased as punch for that. And he was terrific. We loved him. But we watch a lot of Roma, the 3 of us.
Yeah.
For the viewers to know, you both know already. We had already seen the Meta play and you're very excited. And I think Totti spoke really highly of him in a fair few interviews that I read as well. So I was buzzing for him to arrive. But I do feel sorry for him, like you guys say. I think he's been hampered by injuries and his cocaine addiction, which is struggle to really fly in the sun.
El Loco Coco.
But you are right. He's always buzzing. Maybe that's part of it as well.
That's what it is.
A heart rate going through the roof.
So fired up all the time.
But yeah,
his first few games, he just smashes the line. Then after that, he runs out.
He does have quality. Like he frustrated me, and I was frustrated with him in some of the games this season as well. Because, like you say, we come back from lockdown and he was on it immediately because he's professional and he's got a great work ethic. But he takes too long on the ball, and he constantly does it. So he can't play as a number 10 because he takes too long on the ball. He struggles to play on the wing now, I think, because he's a bit older and his body's kind of has been breaking down for a long time. And he never had that blistering pace, but he is intelligent and he is great technically in terms of dribbling and passing, but he just sometimes doesn't know when to do it. He's a frustrating one, and I adore him, like you guys say as well. He's probably my favourite player for us for a long time, I think, because of how hard he works, which is strange because Moore drives me mad and he's very similar.
But he won't sniff coke, so that's why, Jez.
Lamella's so fun on a night out, and Moore just wants to sing him. So
yeah, always won't be there.
I'm not up for it. Don't bother to come, mate. Yeah. We'll get involved with the boys. But yeah, he's a 5 for me, and I echo what Ollie said. I would tell him. I think it's time to sell him because his injury problem. Adore him. He's got a great attitude. I think you have to just accept.
Yeah. And like I said, injuries. What was it? 18 months out, 2 years out. He had of his back, hip problems. Like that's that. What was he then? 24, 26-ish. Like that sort of time frame. That 2 years. That's a huge couple of years for a football player. That's like entering your prime.
I genuinely believed he was at rehab then because I did rumour of it.
He did disappear, didn't he? Quite literally.
I don't want to spread false rumours about Coco Lamella.
But we love you, Coco.
Right. Yeah. And you can't just give up on someone with a hip injury, old. You can't. Yeah. You simply can't.
Or an addiction. It's not their
fault.
Or
an addiction.
Well, that was it, wasn't it? He was out of a hip injury, but also managed to have a baby in that time. And I thought, actually, rehab.
Don't have kids.
It's fine if he's conceiving a kid in that time.
But Pete's had a baby and his hips are fine.
That's not true. I've got 2 pins in my hip. But anyway, that's what I like the fact.
Jez, I love before the baby.
Jez, I love the fact you went. I don't want to spread false rumours about Coco. And I did think at the time that he was doing Coco.
Now here's the rumour.
And here's the bloody
Have it
rumour.
anyway.
Right, let's finish it off then with the big man up top.
Talisman.
Harry Kane. Where are we going? Ollie, let's go to you.
I can't say a bad word about Harry Kane. So the score was always going to be 8 or higher. So I went for an 8 because I love him. And he did still score 24 goals in 36 games, which is a phenomenal output for any player, particularly with the fact that his ankles are made of glass and his hamstrings are made of string. But yeah, as a Spurs fan, you cannot not love him because he's Mr. Tottenham and whatnot. But yeah, I think he was everything that you could ask from a striker. I think, obviously, under Pochettino, he was that all-action centre-forward who was everywhere. And I actually think, despite what Mr. Merson would say, that Mourinho is potentially the perfect manager of him at this time in his career, when he needs to go over his injuries and he needs to stop sprinting around like a lunatic for 90 minutes. And being told to stay in a position will actually be good for him long term. Because I think we love it, like we said about players with work rate and work ethic, and that's great. But you've also got to have the brain to know when to use it. And I think sometimes when things aren't going well for him, I understand why he gets frustrated, but he drops so deep, and he does this. It works quite a lot of the time, but not all the time. He'll drop player 1-2 and sprint off and make a run over the back and get the return ball and stuff like that, which is awesome. But there are times where he's sprinting to all the corners and all that sort of thing for 90 minutes, and you just think you are going to burn yourself out.
Yeah.
And I think so for a player, for him at the minute, I think Mourinho could be an ideal manager for him to get him through these next couple of years, but keep the output high, the goal output high, but reduce his work rate. And like I say, he guarantees you 24, 25 goals a season, which is mental. And he's just a guaranteed thing. And if he wants to leave, just offer him whatever he wants, because he's worth more to Tottenham, as Mourinho said, than any other club in the world, because of his profile, because of the player he is. And we all know for a fact that he is itching to get that Shearer record. So he's only going to leave for another club in England. And if that's allowed to happen, then that is an absolute crime. Because,
I agree.
you can understand, to be fair, you put him in Man City's team, he probably guarantees them 35 goals. But, he's you can't sell him.
I do agree with you. I think he does need to be smarter. It's interesting watching Messi. Like, Messi does nothing off the ball ever. Like, you watch him and he walks and walks and walks, but as soon as he gets the ball, he comes alive. And if H can do that, he'll have a lot more longevity in his game. Because you think about Shearer was big, strong centre forward, so the way he plays is slightly different to Harry Kane in that. So he may not play for as many years as Shearer. So if he wants to catch him, he's going to have to start banging quick. Because I don't know if he can do it, but I don't know if he'll still score as many goals doing what Shearer did and winning headers and scoring from crosses and such like. I've given him, now that I found out we can do 0.5s, I'm going to give him a 7.5 because I think he had, like you said, his goals have been great again, but his injuries are killing him, and we really could do, and we have to go and sign another striker because one, he burns himself out, but a lot of the time that's been forced upon him by the fact we've got no one else to play there. So he's burnt out, one from his own work rate, and two from the fact that he has to play 38 games in a season in the Premier League. Plus
plus 20 in the Europa League.
Fuck's sake. But we have to keep him. I think if he goes, I think we become such a mediocre side without him. We really do. And replacing a centre forward like that is so hard to do. But again, the backup, you have to go young or old, because no one in the prime of their career wants to come and sit on the bench unless you can convince Jose that you should go 4-4-2 every week. So, but there we go. I'll go 7.5. Jez, finish us off then. Bring us home.
I'm actually going to go, since you said the 0.5s are available, I'm going to, rather controversially, after saying that Sonny would be my player of the season like everybody else, I'm going to put him 8.5, and then immediately he becomes my player of the season. I think we kind of set a precedent. I know.
It swayed you, Joe. It swayed you.
We've set a bit of a premise of rating them on when they've played and not actually saying, well, they didn't actually play that much, so they're rating us to go. For example, Tanganga getting 8 from us, despite maybe playing less than
our best centre-back this season.
Exactly.
According to us.
So I'm going to give an 8.5 because I think we take him for granted a bit. Like Ollie just states, he scored 24 goals in about 35 games, and no one really bat an eyelid and said, "Oh, yeah, he's had a great season," or "He's been fantastic." It was, "Oh, no, he's done okay. Harry's done the job." I also noticed that, since lockdown and the last few games, the way he was able to actually come back and start some moves, and then, like he used to, sprint and get into the box was amazing to see, because he hasn't been able to do that for a couple of years, I'd say. If he came started the attack. Gordon knows he wasn't getting up there to be a part of it afterwards. He wasn't going to be able to because he wasn't fit enough. And I hear all the stories about him putting in extra fitness sessions. He had a PT throughout lockdown, where a lot of the players weren't doing things. He's staying after training, doing double, triple sessions. It's just crazy impressive. And you have to say he's probably the best passer in our side. He's the best goal scorer by a mile. He's probably one of the best in the air. He's not bad at dribbling. He doesn't necessarily dribble fast, but he keeps good control of it. He's probably the best in the world at winning fouls. Whether or not to praise someone for that, but I do think it's so impressive because he doesn't dive. He just tricks players into fouling him.
If you're not a Spurs fan, you wouldn't say that.
If I wasn't Spurs, I'd probably hate him for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also don't understand fans that go mad at Kane because the fact is, if he's not in any international competition, then we don't have a chance. So I wouldn't be giving the captain of England shit no matter who they played for if they do fantastic every time they play for England. So I just think, oh, well, in those moments, I can't really cheer for that guy because I've been calling him a prick for the rest of the year. I find that mad that people do that. He gets a lot of grief as well. A lot of people doesn't get anywhere near the ratings. And then Spurs fans kind of get taken the mick out for saying that he's an all-round fantastic footballer. But watch him play, and he is.
Yeah.
It's undeniable. If you watch him play enough games, you will realise that he is just quality. So yeah, I've ended up giving him player of the season.
I think if you include his England goals, I think he did have was it 34 goals in
he smashed it.
36 games, something stupid like that. I mean, appreciate England tend to play against farmers and whatnot, but still, you've still got to score.
Exactly. Also, if he left, we'd have a hard time renaming the pod. So it'd be an absolute.
Oh God, yeah. Please don't leave.
Please leave H. I suppose that sums up our midfielder and striker ratings, boys. Would you like to go through our average ratings for the squad?
Yeah, go on then. Let's hear him.
Do you want to include the centre backs from last time as well?
No, just go to the midfielders.
No, okay.
They can go look on the other ones for that. So
yeah, have to listen to our previous pod, which you can find linked below. It's a word from our sponsors. No, I'm joking. So Winks come out at 6.6. Pretty fair. Sissoko's got a 6. Dele's got a 5. Gio's got an 8. And Tangai's got a 4.3. that actually makes him the lowest rated player of the season. Sorry, Tanguy. But
wow.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Unfair on him maybe, but fair for the ratings.
Yeah, 100%. He isn't very good. Moving towards the strikers, wingers, forwards, whatever I should call them. Son's got 8.2, which makes him our player of the season combined. Sorry, Jez. Lucas got 5.6, Stevie a 7, Coco a 5.3, and H an 8.
Yeah.
There you have it. Son is our player of the season, and Tanguy is our worst player of the season.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Probably fair.
Unfortunately, it has to be so.
Of like the
That'll all change it'll all change next year.
Yeah.
And he's going to be crap.
Would you take that? Would you take a 9 season from Tanguy, but a crap season from Son?
Oh, no.
No, you got your loyalty. Your loyalty has to be with Son after the years he's been there.
Yeah, you don't want to make a compromise saying, "Oh, that's horrible." That I'd take like a nothing season from Mora. And then eventually,
I'll take that.
You're convinced that he doesn't start.
I'll take that.
Then it's a deal.
I mean, we may have worse players. Have we included a couple of the fringe players we didn't talk about?
Yeah, we probably would have done.
But
lovely work, boys. And I think next time we get together, we'll do transfer rumours and we'll all come back with a list of players that we realistically, let's not go out and say, I reckon we should bring Ronaldo over. Let's say like realistic signings that we think would fix the side. And maybe if we do really well, we won't see the same players.
Nice.
If we do particularly.
I agree. Of course, see some potential squad ideas as well. How we'd like to see these players implemented.
Exactly. No, I'll bang up. That'll be one. That's something I'm super excited to talk about.
Definitely,
boys. I found you very entertaining, and hopefully the people do as well.
As always.
People.
So see you later, chaps.
Thanks, boys.
Jorge.
Come on, up this.
Jorge.